some industries may be hit harder than others.
AI is just going to replace everybody.
We're going to automate away a lot of the entry-level white-collar jobs.
Artificial intelligence increasingly doing tasks that used to be assigned to entry-level workers.
Some of their jobs will be replaced by AI, and that Amazon's workforce is expected to shrink in the coming years as AI's role expands.
Damn, we are cooked. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse my use of a face mask. I want to look nice and beautiful today. But AI is becoming a problem. But you know what? With advancements in technology that is meant to change the whole scope of how humanity consumes and processes information, I figured, okay, instead of being all doom and gloom and wanting to KMS, or off myself if you will, about the whole AI issues that are going on right now, I figured, okay, instead of just bitching and moaning all day, let's learn how to adapt. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do that and how you can implement this strategy into your life too. And then not only can you implement it into your running regimen, because here's the thing, there's a lot of people trying to sell you a lot of garbage out there. And most of the stuff that they're trying to sell you, especially when it comes to recent running programs that are being created, they're all being designed by AI, right? But the problem with those kind of designs is that they're not tailored to you. So allow me to show you how to do that. Okay, so basically we have like this ChatGPT, right? Think of it like a calculator, you know? Calculators can do a lot of great damn things, but not everybody knows how to use a calculator to its full potential. And this is the exact same logic when you're dealing with ChatGPT. So for example, let's say this is your typical guy that runs maybe semi-often. He's not like super competitive, but you know, he'll join a 5K and you know, he'll certainly try his best. He's got a decent bit of pace, right? So let's hypothetically say like a 20-minute 5K guy. So hello sir or ma'am, whatever you are. Let's say I am currently a 20-minute 5K athlete. Okay, actually, you know what I'm gonna do actually before this? I'm gonna type in, don't store this in memory. This is just for, I can't spell. This is just for demonstration purposes. I wish to run under 18 minutes. I have been running for, let's say this guy's been running for, I don't know, 3 months. 3 months. No, you know what? Okay. Let's say 6 months. I've been running for 6 months. I run about 3 to 4 times per week. Let's say my job that I work 40 hours per week. Okay, so basically I'm trying to lay out my livelihood. I think it's very important when you're trying to give ChatGPT good information that you basically give it, okay, this is kind of my current lifestyle, this is my current situation, and this is what I want to eventually become. You want to add as much information as possible that is very specific to your livelihood. Let's say you run 30 kilometers per week. Also explain, are you willing to increase your kilometers or are you willing to keep them the same? It depends on your situation, but not too much in order to reach my goal. If you do anything like lifting, also add it into that too. Let's say I lift twice per week just to maintain muscle. I do upper and lower body split. Previous injuries. So the whole purpose of this is that you're creating a scenario for ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will be able to create let's say a 12-week strategy plan, right? Because let's say you want to hit this goal in 12 weeks. Okay, what is going to be required of you in order to hit this goal in 12 weeks? Well, we can structure it out week by week. Another important thing to include is also previous injuries. So let's say hamstring, very specific, but this is something I've dealt with. Hamstring tendinitis. I know how to spell tendinitis. Okay, tendinitis. And occasional bothersome knee, but it has not been a problem recently. I want to try to hit, oh my goodness, to hit this goal in 12 weeks at my local 5K. Can you create a structured 12-week plan, right? And there's more detail that's gonna be included into here. When you ask for a 12-week plan, you want ChatGPT to break it down in a specific way, right? So here's something you can do. Break it down into 4-week microcycles, 3 hard weeks, and 1 off week. This generally is the best strategy for most people to do anyways, is to have 3 weeks where they're training hard and then 1 week where they're training off. And what that means off is like 50% of your mileage for that week. Because this particular runner is only going to run 3 to 4 times a week, ideally they should have 2 base runs and they should have 1 workout day and then 1 long run day. What workout will be done every week? Include what workout will be done every week. The distance of the long run. First thing it's going to recommend is that it slowly builds you up to 50 to 55 kilometers per week, which to run under 18, that is certainly more than enough. In fact, you could probably run that time with less, maybe anywhere between 30 and 40 kilometers a week. But let's just, well, actually this is hard, hypothetically. And perhaps that's one thing that might be an issue now that I think about it, because 50 to 55 weeks, if you're doing that on 3 to 4 runs per week, might be a lot. So what it does instead is that instead of just keeping you rigorously between 3 and 4 runs per week, it's going to gradually implement 4 to 5 runs per week down the line. It gives a nice general structure. So one of the things I like it adds is that it gradually builds the long run portion, especially because the thing is you don't want to just jump straight into an intense long run. You want to gradually progress into that, and this is exactly what this kind of plan promotes. So it does that going from 10 to 16 kilometers, which I think is ideal. I think if you're somebody who's running sub 18, especially I remember when I ran sub 18 for the first time, I peaked at around 16 kilometers before I eventually ran sub 18. And it includes all the other criteria that we included, such as the lifting portion. It gave ideas to mitigate the previous injuries that we had discussed, such as doing hill sprints, because doing hill sprints is something that allows for a high intensity, explosive, short interval workout, if you will, while not putting too much stress on your body, because hills ultimately are going to be less stressful than doing flat strides. And I actually really love that it indeed does break down each micro session, and it has each of the long runs. It includes every key workout that is going to be essential for you to break the pace that you want to be able to run. And also another thing is that these workouts, in terms of intensity, is actually quite light. For example, this 20-minute tempo in your first week of a harder macro cycle of training is so optimal. But of course, that's something you can always adjust when you're having this sort of conversation with ChatGPT as your coach, is that if you feel that a certain type of pace might not be realistic for you, then you can go ahead and indicate that, hey, perhaps this tempo might be a little too intense for the first week. I might want to drop it down. In fact, I'm going to try it. And that's the thing. ChatGPT is not perfect. But also, coaches are not perfect. But to get a coach that's close to perfect, let's be honest, it's going to be pretty damn expensive. And most people who are recreational runners are not going to need dedicated, individualized coaches anyways. So instead of the 20-minute tempo being 4 flat, is actually somewhere between 405 to 410. Perhaps I'd go more towards 415, but perhaps somebody who can handle this kind of workout, especially since it's only 20 minutes, I think it's still a very good workout to do. So, and not only did it for this pace, but it also did it for all the other paces. Because the thing is, this is about week 3, so you would assume by about 3 weeks out that, you know, if you can run this kind of pace 4 by 4 minutes, then by the time you get to here, I think you'll definitely be in much better shape. So this actually is quite a good idea to do. When creating a plan in general, you always want to put the most foundational aerobic stuff first, and then gradually increase things like thresholds and VO2 max later down a microcycle. So what they do in the middle of this microcycle is that they introduce a threshold workout, which I think is really good here. And for the last microcycle, they introduce some more highly intensive workouts that are more race specific. So especially something like 3 by 1600 meter, that is about really close to getting to a sub 18 pace. So ideally, if you're able to do something like that, and this kind of workout is definitely going to get into your VO2 max. And then you have a couple more, I guess, speed sessions where you're going to run paces that are going to be faster than your ultimate race pace. And then you do a sort of deload week, and then you get into race week. So yeah, but that's basically how you can use ChatGPT to your advantage and use it as a way to make you a faster runner. Now, of course, I think something that's very important to keep in mind, just like a real coach would, it's important to be able to adapt based on things that you feel, particularly how your body feels, how it recovers, different things that are going on in your life. Potential injuries may come about. So always make sure to not be super rigid. But I feel like that's sort of common sense. Maybe it's something I don't have to explicitly say, but I don't know. I think people should learn to adapt always, right? And that's the nice thing about using ChatGPT, is that you can give it feedback based on how you're feeling from week to week. And that's another great thing about this, is that I always love to tell about how I felt in a specific workout. Sometimes I give my heart rate measurements based on the workout so that it can analyze for me, okay, did I go, based on the goals of this workout, did I go too hard? Did I go too easy? Was there something different I should have done this day? Is there something different I should do the next week? So I think it's great. It gives you great workout plans. You don't have to overthink, because there's just so much information out there that's online, especially new runners that have never really had a structure, a really good running structure like ChatGPT is able to provide. And so they don't really know what's best for the body. And so the nice thing is you can do some trial and error, you can figure things out yourself, and then see what's best for you. So yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching my very beautiful video. So take care.